base. In 1989, Nigeria LNG was born, and the beginning of the fulfillment of our long-held ambition, a time for action. Ensuing years saw rapid progress, kickstarting a time for accomplishments. Final investment decision was made in 1995 to build Train 1 and 2, creating a 5.9 million tons per annum capacity plant, and commercial production of LNG began. October 1999 marked a time for breakthrough. History was made when Nigeria LNG exported her first ever cargo on LNG Lagos to the Montoir de Breton terminal in France. The dream was finally real. Nigeria LNG successfully enlisted the nation among the suppliers of global LNG, 10 years after it was incorporated. This heralded a time for growth. Growth followed growth, success followed success, and within its first decade of operations, Nigeria LNG would become the fastest growing LNG company in the world. A time for expansion ensued. Nigeria LNG added 4 more trains to become the biggest industrial complex in sub-Saharan Africa. A major supplier of global LNG and rank among the top 5 exporters with a production of 22 million tons of LNG and natural gas liquids from our 6-train plant complex on Bonny Island in Rivers State, Nigeria. We achieved global reach, establishing 2 subsidiaries, Bonny Gas Transport, BGT Limited, which owns and charters 13 of the 23 ships that transverse the globe to deliver LNG cargoes, and the NLNG Ship Management Limited, NSML, to manage the crews on board the LNG vessels. The result? A dramatic reduction of Nigeria's gas flare status from 65% when the company started operations to less than 20% today. With this growth came Nigerianization, a rapid boost to Nigerian skills and world-class engineering training capacity. Today, the company has 100% Nigerian management team and 95% Nigerian employees who operate the plant with the highest value for safety. With 22 million tons of production, Nigeria LNG has generated revenues of over $100 billion to date, returning more than $15 billion to stakeholders in dividends and contributing an excess of $6.5 billion in taxes to the nation since we started operations, allowing us to participate actively in national investment. We are and will continue to be part of Nigeria's future. We continue to pursue our passion for community development, investing significantly in infrastructure development with plans to co-finance a 120 billion naira Bonny-Bodo Road project to connect Bonny Island to the mainland, representing the highest single investment ever on a CSR project in the country. This project will offer great relief to riverine dwellers in that area of the Niger Delta, turning the island into an investor and tourist haven. We established the Bonny Utilities Company, BUC, to ensure uninterrupted electric power supply, as well as potable water to the community, and the Bonny Community Health Insurance Scheme to guarantee access to healthcare for the people. We will sustain skills development through our 3-tier scholarship scheme, as well as the London City and Guilds Certified Bonny Vocational Centre, to train technicians and meet the manpower needs of the industry. We are committed to achieving Goal Zero, not just in our carbon emission through our operations, but also our safety records, remaining a force for good as we look to ramp up LPG supply to the domestic market, with our commitment of 350,000 tonnes per annum, further reducing the adverse impact of other hazardous fuels on humans and the environment. Today, with Train 7 on the horizon, we are excited about the opportunity to increase production capacity by 35%, and with this, create brighter futures for the growing population, contributing to education, research, infrastructural development, transformation of the communities in which we operate, maintaining our position as a top 5 exporter of LNG and delivering cleaner, sustainable energy to the country better and faster than before. As the world demands more energy, but with less carbon emissions, natural gas has a major part to play. It is the smart partner to renewables. The future is exciting. The future is gas. It's time for gas, and it's our time to shine.
Good afternoon. Welcome, everyone, and thank you for joining this virtual interactive forum with the joint winners of the Nigeria Prize for Science 2019. This forum is co-hosted by Nigeria LNG Limited and the Lagos Chamber of Commerce and Industry. My name is Yemi Adeyemi, and I will anchor the forum this afternoon. Just before we start, I would like us to know that safety is at the core of all we do at Nigeria LNG Limited. Please observe all protocols around where you're joining from. And let's also remember that COVID-19 pandemic is not yet over. Wash your hands regularly, maintain social distancing, and when you go out, please mask up. Always comply with relevant advisory as given by the agencies. And together, we will kick out COVID-19. Before we go further, can I introduce to you our special guests today? As I introduce them, I'll please ask that they turn on their videos so that our viewers can see them. Thank you. I'll start first with the sponsor of the Nigeria Prize for Science, Nigeria Prize for Literature, and the Nigeria Prize for Literary Criticism, Nigeria LNG Limited. This company was incorporated on May 19th, 1989 to harness Nigeria's vast gas resources, produce liquefied natural gas, LNG, and natural gas liquids, NGLs, for export. The company undertakes various CSR initiatives, and one of them is the Nigeria Prize for Science, which has brought us all here today. Representing the company here today, we have the General Manager, External Relations and Sustainable Development, Mrs. Eyono Fatayi Williams. You're welcome, Madam.
Good afternoon. Thank you.
Okay. We also have with us the Manager, Corporate Communication and Public Affairs, with direct responsibility for the prizes, Dr. Sophia Osfall.
Good afternoon.
You're welcome. We appreciate members of NLNG's management and staff all logged in. I can see you there. Thank you all for coming. Ladies and gentlemen, partnering with Nigeria LNG as co-host of this forum is the Lagos Chamber of Commerce and Industry, founded in 1888, over 130 years ago. It is the premier chamber of commerce in Nigeria and the foremost private sector group with about 2,000 corporate members. And today we have representing them Asiwaju Dr. Michael Olawale Cole, Deputy President of the Lagos Chamber of Commerce and Industry. You're welcome, Asiwaju. We also have with us this afternoon, Dr. Muda Yusuf, the Director General of the Chamber.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon.
You're welcome, sir.
Thank you very much.
We have with us in the audience other principal officers and members of the LCCI. We welcome you all. Thank you for joining. And most importantly, we have with us today the members of the Advisory Board for Science. They have the responsibility of looking after the Nigeria Prize for Science. And they're led by the chairman, Professor Emeritus Alfred Akpoveta Suso, Professor of Chemical Engineering, Fellow Nigerian Academy of Science. Professor Susu himself was a winner of this prize in 2004. That was the maiden edition. Welcome, Prof. We also have with us Professor Bath Naji, founder and chairman, Geometric Power Limited, and two-time Minister of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. First, as a Minister of Science and Technology, and then later as Minister of Power. We welcome you, sir.
Greetings, everyone.
Welcome, welcome, sir.
Thank you.
We also have with us Professor Michael Adiku, former Vice Chancellor, University of Abuja, fellow Nigerian Academy of Science, and again, a past winner of the Nigeria Prize for Science in 2006. Professor Michael Adiku, you're welcome. And we have with us Chief Dr. Mrs. Nike Akonde, economist, accountant, and industrialist, past president of the Lagos Chamber of Commerce and Industry, and Nigeria's first Minister of Industry. She was appointed twice to serve in that role, by the way. Welcome, Madam.
Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon, Ma. You're welcome.
Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, I also have the honor to introduce to you this afternoon the distinguished joint winners of the Nigeria Prize for Science 2019, Professor Mayong Wang.
Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon, Prof. Thank you. And Dr. Matthew Aneke.
Good afternoon, everyone. Nice to be here.
Thank you and welcome. Please, may I ask all our special guests to have their videos on? My colleagues on the technical side would like to take a quick snap of the screen so that we can have that for our records. Dr. Buddha Yusuf would like to have your video on. Yes, and please let's also smile. We want the picture to be very, very nice. Give us your bright smile. Thank you, Professor Susu. Thank you, thank you, everyone. Thank you. Okay. So, ladies and gentlemen, let me let you know that in the audience, we have almost 200 people right now, professionals, captains of industry from various other chambers of commerce and industry, apart from the LCCI. So, others are also from entrepreneurs and investor forums. So we would like to welcome everyone. But I would like to say a big thank you to our friends, our partners in the media. They are also online. Thank you for joining. Please, I'd like to remind us that this forum is designed to be interactive. So questions should be dropped in the Q&A box so that we can pick them up from there and pose them to our winners, and they will get to answer them as we get once we get to that part of the program. Again, this session is being recorded purely for publicity and is also streaming live on our YouTube channel. And of course, it will also be there after the program. For those who were unable to join us, you can ask them to go back there and watch it. But it's time to go straight and kick off. And to do that for us, I have the honor to invite this afternoon our General Manager, External Relations and Sustainable Development, Mrs. Eyono Fatai Williams, to give the opening remarks.
Thank you very much, Yemi. Thank you. And to our very distinguished audience, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on where you're joining us from, somewhere around the globe. And standing on existing protocol, I'd like to once again join Yemi in saying welcome to what promises to be a very interesting, should I say 60 minutes or 90 minutes from now. I'm sure it will be an engaging session. Conversations around the advancement of our society continuously generates interest amongst diverse stakeholders. And that is, that's expected. It's a given, given the obvious need to grow our industrial and technological profile as a nation, as Nigeria. Recognizing the value that scientific research can bring to the actualization of that conversation, Nigeria LNG every year invests relentless efforts and resources to promote the Nigeria Prize for Science which offers $100,000. Yes, you heard me, $100,000 as prize money for outstanding work that profiles any sterling solution to address or resolve identified problems that we have found in Nigeria. This has been a celebrated solution, and from 2016, the Nigeria Prize for Science has celebrated significant research works, I think notable amongst them are three that I'd like to mention, and these three outstanding works. The first was on innovations in malaria control, that was in 2016. It emerged the winning work in 2017. It was the 2017 edition of the Science Prize, Innovations in Malaria Control. That was Nigeria LNG's contribution to the federal government's effort to engender a malaria-free society. And true to our promise and true to the resolve, Nigeria LNG itself as a company, we have since progressed on this, and we currently have a project ongoing in Bonny Island to eliminate malaria from our operational base, which is Bonny Island. I believe that when that work is concluded, we will also celebrate it with the science community. In 2018, Nigeria LNG celebrated another scientific work on nanostructured metal hydrates for the storage of electric power coming from renewable energy sources and for expansion prevention and for explosion prevention, in high voltage power transformers. This work was by our distinguished winner, Dr. Peter Ngene, who emerged the winner of the Nigeria Prize for Science in 2018. That work proffered solutions in electric power generation from renewable energy, which, as we know, is where the rest of the world is gravitating towards. It also identified, very importantly, a means of conserving electric power using nanotechnology. Today, we are here to showcase another winning work, this time the winning work of the 2019 Nigeria Prize for Science, which addresses climate change, a subject that continues to dominate global conversations. The work was on carbon capture, carbon utilization, and biomass gasification and energy storage for power generation. And this work, this distinguished work, was by a Nigerian researcher, Dr. Matthew Aneke, and his counterpart, Professor Mehong Wang, who is the first ever non-Nigerian as a winner or joint winner, but as a joint winner of the prestigious Nigeria Prize for Science. The growing list of renowned works inspired by this NLNG-sponsored Nigeria Prize for Science reinforces Nigeria LNG's corporate vision of being a global LNG company helping to build a better Nigeria. Our interest is not just in motivating research into applicable solutions to Nigeria's challenges, but also in advocating the utilization of these brilliant ideas in solving relevant national challenges, which is why we're here today. To this end, we have taken the extra step of interacting with industry players to elicit business interests, to synergize with the researchers for the optimal benefit of the works to their organizations and to the society. For it is this positive and tangible action that is what is needed to achieve the company's advancement. This is what is needed. When these great research works have been done, it's now operationalized or practicalizing them to actually address the challenges that they have been identified to solve, is that critical step that brings value and benefit to these wonderful research works. NLNG eagerly anticipates possible engagements and can evolve from today's interaction to bring about the progress needed for our national development. It is our expectation that members of the Lagos Chamber of Commerce and Industry, who are specialized in management of climate change, will explore opportunities highlighted by this 2019 winning work with other interested groups to engage the winners towards the actual application of their research work. I believe that everyone in this conference has genuine interest in the nation's advancement because as an industry player or as industry players, growing our businesses will ultimately translate to growing our economy as a nation. It is therefore my hope, my sincere hope, that this aspiration will drive today's event to a successful end. Previous interactions have proven very successful, and I know that today cannot be an exception, but will even be better. So you're welcome once again, and I ask that you please just fasten your seatbelts and stay tuned for what promises to be very interesting presentations to come. Thank you very much and welcome once again. Yemi, over to you.
Thank you very much, madam. Thank you, thank you. And indeed, it promises to be a very interesting session this afternoon. I'll re-echo just two of the things you said. One, this session will showcase the research work of the winners of the prize, and of course, allow the business community explore possibility of linkages with other investors for commercialization of this research. I can assure you that online, also in the audience, we have with us this afternoon, members of the other chambers of commerce of the industry. We have members of the Bonny Chamber of Commerce, and we have other people from investment forums too. So we're glad to have everyone. Let me quickly call on the co-hosts of this session, the Lagos Chamber of Commerce and Industry, to also give us some remarks. And this will be done by Ashiwaju Dr. Michael Olawale Cole. Dr. Cole, over to you, sir.
The chairman and members of the advisory committee, the board for science, very distinguished awardees, very distinguished ladies and gentlemen. I would like to begin by commending the consistency of Nigerian liquefied gas company, NLNG, in its commitment to the expansion of the frontiers of scientific research through the annual NLNG Prize for Science over the years. Since its inception in 2004, the prize has grown to become Nigeria's highest scientific award and has continued to celebrate excellence in scientific accomplishments, as well as bring Nigerian and non-Nigerian scientists to limelight. The importance of scientific research to humanity cannot be overemphasized. Scientific research enables man to develop new technologies, new techniques, solve practical problems, and make informed decisions, both individually and collectively. Through the prize, groundbreaking innovations and discoveries that will improve health and environmental conditions have been given and brought to public attention. I heartily felicitate with the awardees on this feat. Your hard work and dedication to solving societal problems through your research discoveries is highly commendable. I would also like to applaud the board and management of NLNG for the significant milestones achieved through this medium in the last couple of years. It is to my belief that this prize will motivate other scientists to conduct groundbreaking research that will be of enormous benefit to mankind. I want to thank you all for listening. This is from Toki Mabuguje Mrs., President, LCCI. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Ashiwaju. We appreciate you, and we can assure you that the partnership with the LCCI is valued greatly by NLNG, and we are also positive that commercial opportunities exist for the scientific research done by the winners, which the business community can really take advantage of. That has always been the objective of the LCCI in organizing this annual event. We normally would have had it at your auditorium, but again, it's COVID, and we just have to go virtual. But the good thing is, this year we're able to have more people join us. I just checked with our crew now, and we have about 250 people online, which is fantastic. Talk about the gains of this situation. But then I would now like to invite to quickly speak with us the chairman of the Advisory Board for Science, Professor Alfred Apoveta Susu. Professor Susu. Okay, there might be some, you have some technical challenges.
Now?
Okay, now we can hear you, sir.
Okay. I wish to stand on all existing protocol. I always feel comfortable in an environment where science and innovation are the main focus of discussion. This is not only because of my current position as the chairman of the advisory board for the Nigerian Prize for Science, but also because of my life's passion, which is the pursuit of scientific solutions through research. Our gathering here is to acknowledge the need to go beyond celebrating scientific research to actualizing the findings of research results for our society's good. That is the reason we are here to further celebrate the 2019 winning work for the Nigerian Prize for Science, which is carbon capture, carbon utilization and biomass gasification, and energy storage for power generation by Dr. Matthew Aneke and Professor Menhong Wang, and place their work before this select group of stakeholders, investors, and facilitators who are responsible for the management of climate change issues in our country. This forum is hosted by the Lagos Chamber of Commerce and Industries in collaboration with the Nigeria LNG Limited. Winning work on the impact of climate change is the outcome of a vision by a corporate citizen worthy of emulation, the Nigeria LNG Limited. The company's policies and support for the development of science and technology are also in alignment with the federal government's vision. Besides being a successful company in the oil and gas industry with acknowledged pedigree of good corporate standards for operations of liquefied natural gas plants worldwide, LNG has earned our collective commendation and praise for its sponsorship of the Nigerian Prize for Science. Apart from the prize, NLNG has promoted stakeholders' interest in the application of scientific research to the solution of societal problems. Even more impressive is the thematic nature of the Science Prize, which is more suited to rewarding scientific solutions to Nigeria's problems. This much craved development of our nation obviously requires the involvement of industry partners. So I believe the involvement of the Lagos Chamber of Commerce and Industry in the discourse is most appropriate. Concluding, I will say that Nigeria LNG Limited has clearly shown that education, research, and development are intertwined, and with the right mix of these activities, the socio-economic advancement of our country will be assured. This is only achievable if industry stakeholders will utilize these and other proven research results, the innovations that address society's needs and advance our social infrastructural well-being. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I call on all to support the NLNG's aspiration to use the Nigerian Prize for Science to improve the infrastructural needs needed for economic prosperity. This can only be done through the development of science and technology, mass literacy, and industry.
Thank you very much, Professor Susu, Chairman, Advisory Board for Science. We appreciate the good work that the members of the board and the panel of judges always do. We really appreciate that. I'm glad that this afternoon we also have in the audience members of the panel of judges, especially the 2019 judges. We appreciate them. So, ladies and gentlemen, we will watch a video on the Nigeria Prize for Science. But before we do that, I would like to invite Chief Dr. Mrs. Nike Akade, Nigeria's first female Minister of Industry, to please give us a brief message. Thereafter, we'll see that video and hear from the prize winners. Thank you.
Thank you very much. The video is not on yet.
Okay, ma, let me. Okay, madam, we can't see you yet. You need to turn on your video and then. Okay, now we can see you.
Thank you. Now you can see me. Can I go on?
Confirm.
With my... Thank you very much. Good afternoon, distinguished panelists. Please permit me to stand on existing protocol. In the past 3 years, Nigeria LNG has spearheaded this event. The central focus is how players can partner with the scientists whose research works have emerged as sterling solutions to society's problems, and to facilitate public use of the works in such a way that they add value to the development of our society. This conference is steadily increasing awareness of the prize for science among industry players. It is also increasing the consciousness of the potential of partnership towards innovations. With the sturdiness of the scientific works and Nigeria LNG's devotion to finding solutions to Nigeria's problems through the prize, I believe that such interactive sessions will continue to encourage healthy deliberations that can enable wide-scale public use of works. I use this medium to encourage more Nigerian scientists to imbibe the spirit behind the Nigeria Prize for Science and strive to research and innovate to resolve more of our national challenges, as this platform offers a real hope that we will eventually move towards applying those solutions for the improvement of our society and the ultimate financial benefit of the investors. I commend the advisory board and panel of judges for the Nigerian Prize for Science for efficiently administering the prize year after year. I also congratulate the winners for their dedication to such a noble cause and on their success in the competition. Today's event is indeed a call to do more so that the identified potentials could be realized. Finally, I thank the board and management of LLNG Limited for instituting and sustaining what has grown to become the biggest science prize in Africa. We hope that the other corporate organizations will emulate you as you continue to pursue your vision of helping to build a better Nigeria, even in the challenging economic and social landscape. I thank you all for your kind attention, and may God bless you all. Amen. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Chief Dr. Mrs. Nike Akade, Nigeria's first Minister of Industry, first female Minister of Industry, Member Advisory Board of Science, and the former President of the Lagos Chamber of Commerce and Industry. Thank you. You were very instrumental to this NLNG LCCI partnership. Madam, we really appreciate you. And thanks for commending the judges. We actually have the 3 judges for the 2019 cycle. We have them online. Professor Deborah Ajakaye, who was the chairperson, Professor Peter Nnabude, and of course, Professor Abdullahi Bala. Thank you. They are here with us in the audience. We appreciate them and the good work they did in looking through all those entries we got and picking up the winners. Ladies and gentlemen, it's time to watch that short video. And thereafter, we'll listen to the winners, hear what their work is all about. Thank you.
Happy to stand here today as a joint recipient of the NLNG Award for Science with my boss, Professor Mehong Wang.
It's a great honor to be here as a joint winner of this prestigious Nigeria Prize for Science 2019.
The Nigeria Prize for Science, which started with $20,000 prize money in 2004, is now one of the biggest prizes in the world and the biggest in Africa at $100,000. For the first time since its inception, the Nigeria Prize for Science is recognizing a known Nigerian, Professor Mehong Wang, together with Dr. Matthew Aneke, a Nigerian scientist based in the UK. Professor Wang, also in the United Kingdom, presented a landmark research on carbon capture, carbon utilization and biomass gasification and energy storage for power generation. The distinguished judges and advisory board of the prize consider this work of great merit in solving Nigeria's major climate change challenge: desert encroachment, erosion, and deforestation.
The group is called Process and Energy System Engineer. We can reduce the capital cost and we also reduce the energy consumption. Once the technology becomes mature, implemented worldwide, we can reduce the cost and energy consumption when we deal with carbon capture for industry and power plants.
Dr. Neke is a Nigerian.
I think I heard about NLNG Science Prize last year through a colleague. Around early this year, either January or February, I saw one of their calls on climate change, rather looking at how people can provide solution. So tackling this issue, we have to look at how we can tackle the root cause of the problem. How can we discourage people from cutting trees indiscriminately? How can we efficiently utilize our biomass in Africa?
For the champions, stand up, stand up, stand up. For the champions, stand up.
Are you standing? because I am where I am right now. I'm standing for the champions. Ladies and gentlemen, and it's time to hear from them. Let's hear from Professor Mayong Wang. Let's hear from him what this work of theirs is all about. Ladies and gentlemen, Professor Wang, Mayong Wang.
Hello, good afternoon, everyone. First of all, I would like to introduce myself, Professor Mei Hong Wang from the University of Sheffield. And first of all, I would like to introduce the University of Sheffield. We are one of the top 100 universities in the world. And from here, you can see, and in 2019, and the QS ranks us as 75 top 79 in the world. Okay, we are proud of our world-class research with 30% viewed as world leading and or internationally excellent. And we are partnered with Rolls-Royce, GSK, Siemens, and Boeing, these kind of big companies worldwide. This is one of the building called Diamond Building, and the investment of 81 million pounds and for 19 specialist engineering laboratories, and 5,000 engineering students would benefit from this new investment. The next one is look at my research group. And generally we work on process modeling, simulation, process optimization, process control, and apply to power plants, carbon capture, CO2 transport, utilization, and grid scale energy storage and bioenergy. And in the end, our research used for process design, process operation, process control. So that's why we call ourselves process and energy system engineering. And we generally have 3 to 5 postdocs, and 5 to 10 PhD students, and 2 to 5 visiting scholars worldwide, depending upon when we are. Why do we do this research? Generally, we considering the energy demand rise all the time. And then we think about any kind of solution to energy, which is think 3 things. One is energy security, one is emission reduction, one is affordability to the public. So nowadays we talk about CO2 in the atmosphere with the concentration of 417 around, okay, nowadays. And atmospheric CO2 must remain below 450 in order to keep global warming below 2 centigrade degree. And so talk about CCUS, the value chain. We first look at the source, okay, from natural gas processing, such as the Nigerian LNG, the process, okay, and from power plants, from industry, such as refinery and steel making. Looking at transport of CO2, and we generally have ship and pipelines, and also we have CO2 storage or enhanced oil recovery. In the middle here, we can see the CO2 converted into fuels and chemicals through chemical and biological ways. Okay, this is the most challenging part of the research worldwide. Next, and our work generally in the modeling based on chemical principles, and then the models are very complex, and you can see lots of equations based on established two-film theory or penetration theory in other scenarios. Next. And this is what in the end will look like the dynamic models in GPROMS. We can claim to be the first dynamic models in developed worldwide for carbon capture using solvents. Okay, next one is after validation of the models with experiment data from power plants worldwide, America and UK. And then we do scale up to see carbon capture for large scale power plants, such as 500 megawatt coal-fired power plants. And we can see we need 4 absorbers and 2 strippers, each one as large as 12 meters in diameter, and also around 30 meters in height, which is significant investment for carbon capture. Next, please. And for this one, you can see the dynamic models of power plants integrated with dynamic model for carbon capture plants. For this one, we can look at the performance, why the performance, thermal dynamic performance or carbon capture cost. Okay, next. Okay, this one is the dynamic performance. We can see a fast power plants, how to work with the slow carbon capture plants, and what are the challenges through the operation point of view. And this work was published in 2012. We get the highly cited status and in Web of Science. Next, please. And here we try to find novel solutions to deal with why do we need high investment cost. Here we look at assume a 500 megawatt power plants and the flue gas 600 kg per second. And this means every day you have to catch 8,000 pure CO2. And the size of the packing columns should be huge. This means packing also, volume also huge. So translate into very high capital costs. Next, please. Yeah, here we look at the comparison technically. What's the limiting factor if we consider CO2 and MEA, which is solvent, and the reaction? Also look at mass transfer. And then we found it's mass transfer very slow, which determines the huge size of the column. And then why mass transfer is poor is because of the laminar flow on the surface of the packing. Here we look at operating issues. The carbon capture plant very slow. Why? It's because of very high energy ratio and therefore very high energy consumption to regenerate these solvents. And also a very big operating issue when integrated with power plants. Next, please. And we look at process intensification, which is a strategy to make the volumes of the equipment smaller or to merge two or more units together into one. And rotating backbed is one of the PI technologies. And rotating backbed use centrifugal force to enhance the mass transfer. Next, please. And here in 2014, I was lucky to lead a big consortium working with Imperial College London, Newcastle University, and from 2014 to 2019, using process intensification for carbon capture and studies through system engineering techniques. Next, please. And here, during the delivery of this project, we look at the worldwide current status, and we managed to simplify, design the new equipment, and simplify the existing process flow diagrams. And then this is one of the paper we published in very top international high, applied energy as a highly cited paper. Now we look at modeling, simulation, and optimization based on experiment study, and we can see the packing volume in the absorber and stripper can reduce 30 to 50 times, which is a significant achievement. And then we can look at the column itself can reduce 8 to 12 times. And the energy consumption for power for regeneration of solvents would have huge potential if we can optimize the concentration of the MEA to very high concentration region, such as 75%. Next, please. And then we move to CO2 transport, what we have done. We live in the region of Humber region, which is the UK's biggest industrial region for CO2 emissions. In the region, we have 12 large emitters, each over 1 million tons. And we were given a task how to design long-term the pipeline transport networks with a minimum cost, but we still can achieve the target. Next, please. And then we look at the solutions in one step or in two steps. In one step, we think, at the start, build huge pipelines to consider every emitters, even though some of them were due very late. And another thing, we look at investment and their impacts. We took at 2 stages, and in the end, the paper was given largely one product by IMAKI. This one is our system analysis for carbon capture. Again, collaborate with Imperial College London and University of Sussex and British Survey. We look at UK energy systems, power plant technologies, CO2 capture technologies, and CO2 transport and storage technologies. How to get the best solution to the UK at a different time. This is another project we have done, funded by UK EPSRC, which is called Gas Facts. We look at gas turbine and then how to improve the technology with humid air turbine and how to recycle the flue gas and then increase the concentration of CO2 in flue gas and then reduce the size of the capture plant. Next, please. And then we move to grid-scale technology. Energy storage is very important because of the penetration of the renewable energy. Okay, we look at here liquid air energy storage, which including charging, discharging, storage of the liquid air in the tank. Next, please. And we also look at compressed air energy storage, which is again charging, discharging, and storage of high pressure compressed air. Next, please. In order to improve the round-trip efficiency of CAES system, compressed air energy storage, we link that one with organic Rankine cycle, and you can see the process flow diagram here. The next one, we will look at how CAES as the energy storage system integrated with wind power, and then we look at the design and operation issues. Next, please. This one indicates a real-life wind farm and indicated with the wind turbine, and then linked with UK electric grid and also with CAES system. And then we assume its demand and then how to operate and design such a system at design and off-design points. This work has been published widely in applied energy, renewable energy, and fuel. And then some of papers have been highly cited or even hot paper. For example, this review paper. Now we move to our research in bioenergy, which mainly partition and gasification of biomass. And in this slide, we can see the model we have developed 2D, which two-dimensional dynamic model for two-stage fixed bed reactor in GPROMs, and validated with data from Leeds University and a model used for process analysis to guide the process design and operation. Here is another research funded by White Rose Collaboration Fund in 2014 in collaboration with Leeds University, York University, Hull University, and even Sheffield. Again, we try to compare the different pyrolysis technologies such as microwave pyrolysis or conventional thermal heating microwave. In the end, we get the conclusion that biochar from microwave pyrolysis is much more reactive for next stage of gasification. Next, please. Here we look at another project funded by EU RISE called Flexi PyroCat. We design new catalyst and then look for hydrogen production with the pyrolysis gasification of biomass and waste plastics. And this, we recently got a post prize in 2018 in the international conference. We also published 2 journal papers in Chemical Engineering Journal, a top journal worldwide. We look at the impact of our research. Our models for carbon capture, we have been used by big companies such as RWM Empower in Sweden, PS Limited in London, and then models developed for carbon capture using intense technology, RPP, will be used by CSIS Limited. We are handing over to the company. And then our publications have given different awards. And in 2014, we got Ludwig Mond Prize by IMACE, and then Sage Space Paper Prize 2014, and most cited review paper in 2016 by Applied Energy, and more importantly, iChemie Global Award 2019 in energy category. We got runner-up, the second place out of the 8 finalists. Next, please. And then here we look at the highly cited papers, a long list here, and then citations of my publications. You can see generally over 4,000 citations so far. Next, please. And here I want to emphasize my contributions to training Nigerian talents since 2006. I've taught over 2,000 MSc or MNG students originally from Nigeria. I've supervised over 30 Nigerian students for MSc research projects. And I have supervised over 10 Nigerian PhD students. And most of them are very successful now in Western world, such as Dr. Eddie Kulilawar from 2007 to 2011. Now he's lead project engineer with Siemens in Germany. And we also have Dr. Eni Oko, and he with me for PhD from 2011 to 2015. And again, postdoc with me from 2015 to 2019. Okay, he's now lecturer at the University Hull, assistant professor at the University Hull. Okay, and then I also supervise 5 research staff, okay, originally from Nigeria. And in the future, if any interest, welcome Nigeria LNG to sponsor PhD students or postdocs to us for collaboration research in this wide area for a sustainable world. Next, please. Finally, I would like to thank all the sponsors to pay us for research. Thanks to all my previous research staff and students for their hard work. Thanks all industrial collaborators for contribution to the ideas. Today, I would want to thank Nigerian LNG and also the advisory board led by Professor Alfred Susu for this great recognition. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Professor Meong Wang. Thank you. And thank you for thanking Nigeria LNG. Prof, you know, sometimes these presentations could be very, very technical, you know. So I would just like to ask, you know, what does it really mean for the environment, and how does it affect the common man?
Carbon capture, we talk about large scale. For example, one power plant, generally one day release at least 8,000 tons of CO2. If the technology can be cheap enough, can be implemented by the real world, because you know worldwide we have thousands of huge power plants burning coal or natural gas. If the technology can be used, we can reduce lots of CO2 emitted to the atmosphere. So that's why carbon capture and utilizing storage is a huge area and it needs lots of investment for research. So that's why I'm glad Professor Alfred Susu and the advisory board are so wise to encourage more and more research and achievements in CCUS area for power generation.
Thank you very much, Prof. Thank you. Please, ladies and gentlemen, let's continue to drop our questions in the Q&A questions and answers box there. I have a question here from Austin O'Neilly, and they would like to know when has this entered implementation phase, and if it has not, when will it do so?
I would say generally this kind of research, some research we published from the year 2009, 2011, 2012, these papers, this work has been widely studied by worldwide. And currently, worldwide, we have some large-scale implementation, mainly in USA and, Canada, okay, such as Sask Power, such as Quest, okay. And these need huge investments in the billion level. So it's not one academic or one professor can let the technology go to industrial use. Of course, I would say our research has attracted lots of citations, lots of inquiries, and lots of contributions towards the real life application.
Thank you very much, Professor Meong Wang. We'll still come back to you, but for now, let's hear from Nigeria's very own Dr. Matthew Aneke. Let's take his presentation, then thereafter we can take more questions. Dr. Aneke, please.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Yemi, for inviting me to give this presentation. My name is Dr. Matthew Aneke, and just a brief introduction about myself. I used to work with Professor Meong Wang at Sheffield, and that was when we won the prize. But now I'm in my quest to see that this solution is beneficial to us in Nigeria. I've been looking for ways to get this solution out to the outside world. And my focus is mainly on transforming the waste sector in Nigeria using the technology. So my presentation outline is just a brief about global warming and greenhouse gases, the greenhouse gas and human activities, what we are doing that is causing those greenhouse gas to be emitted into the environment. I will now briefly talk about the call for the 2019 Science Prize, and also the solution we have proposed on how to tackle that, and how that solution can be used to transform the waste sector in Nigeria. Next, please. So when we talk about global warming, it has to do with the release of greenhouse gases into the environment more than the nature can handle. And what happens is that these greenhouse gases form a kind of blanket on the Earth's surface and they don't allow radiations to leave the Earth, and that increases the mean average temperature of the Earth. Next, please. So due to human activities, the greenhouse gas concentration in the atmosphere has significantly increased. So we are talking about over 40% increase in CO2 emission, over 150% increase in methane, and over 20% increase in nitrous oxide when we compare that with the pre-industrial times. And what is causing this increase is mainly because of human activities, maybe due to the quest for more energy from fossil fuels, and due to other means like in the agricultural sector where we have methane emissions. And what happens is that this increase in concentration leads to an increase in the mean air temperature, which is what we call the global warming. And over a long time, it leads to a change in climate pattern, and that is what we talked about as climate change. Next, please. So sustained increase in Earth mean temperature is what gives rise to global warming, which causes climate change. And now we started experiencing extreme weather conditions like flood, desertification, and all sorts of things. And in order to be able to reverse that, we need to do something about it. And for the 2019 prize, the call was specifically on solving Nigerians' problem with erosion, drought, and desertification. And for us to solve the problem, we have to go back to the root cause of what is causing the problem. And that is, we have a massive population growth, and because of that, there's always an increase in demand of energy. And in Nigeria, like other sub-Saharan African countries, we depend so much on fuel wood for energy. It is quoted that over 90% of household energy consumption comes from wood. And where do we get those wood from? We get it from the forest. So we cut trees indiscriminately, and that has led to deforestation. And these trees are good carbon sinks. So they absorb CO2 during their photosynthesis. By cutting them, we have cut off that CO2 that they are taking away from the atmosphere, and that has also caused the concentration of CO2 in the atmosphere to increase, leading to global warming. And because when we cut these trees, we leave the soil so bare, they are attacked by wind and rain, that leads to erosion. And from there, other climate change issues comes on board that leads to drought and desertification. So for us to solve the problem, we have to go back and try to reverse the causes. So how do we do that? What we are proposing is to find an alternative and sustainable energy source that will reduce the indiscriminate cutting of fuel wood. And when we find those alternative energy sources, we have to efficiently utilize them and produce clean fuel from them, because fuel wood leads to a lot of emissions. And also, to control the CO2 we have already emitted into the environment, what do? We have to reverse it by removing the CO2 from the atmosphere, and also utilize the CO2 by immobilizing them into other products so that they don't get re-emitted into the environment. And also, since we cut trees and we make use of the soil, most times we take away the carbon content of the soil. And in order to enrich the soil, we have to put those carbon back. And here we are proposing an innovative integrated zero waste solution. So instead of cutting trees, we can look at our waste biomass. We have waste biomass all over Nigeria. And more especially, we have what we call the timber shades, where we have chaffs from wood. So instead of going to cut new trees, while we don't also plant new ones, we can use those waste biomass, gasify them by a process called pyrolysis and gasification. And what we get from the wood is we get the three different products. We get the bio oil, which are very good, that can be used for cooking in our local stoves. We get the biochar, which are very good adsorbents. And we also get the biosyngas, which is very good for power generation. So the biochar, which are the solid fraction that is left behind after the gasification of operation, has a very good absorbent properties. So what do we do with them? They can easily be used to remove CO2 from the air. So in that case, we are reversing the CO2 we have already put into the air. And the solution we are proposing is a kind of temperature swing adsorption process, whereby we use the biochar to trap the CO2 that is already in the environment and recover the pure CO2, which can be utilized for other purposes, like in a greenhouse gas farming. So when we look at, because I'm always interested in finding how these things can be useful back home in Nigeria, and we have a lot of waste in Nigeria. We have open dump sites where people go and dump waste. So and we have waste problem on one hand, and we also have power problem on the other hand. So this is a very good marriage whereby we can gasify those waste and get some useful products from them, which can also be used to power Nigeria and improve our energy security. And also the oil can be transformed into other useful products, while the slags can be used for construction materials. Next, please. So some people have asked, have those technologies been used? Yes, some of these technologies have been used. So this is a table showing some of the power generation from waste in the UK through gasification operation. And in 2018, about 7,074 gigawatt hour of electricity was generated from waste in the UK using this technology. And if you look at other countries like Japan, the technology has been in implementation for a very long time now. Next, please. So coming to the CO2 capture from air, it is a very infant area of research, and the need for it arises as a result of trying to reduce the concentration of CO2 from air. So a company like Climeworks have been doing some demonstration in Switzerland, where they are trapping CO2 from the air and using the CO2 for farming. Carbon engineering is doing something similar in Canada. Global Thermostat is working with ExxonMobil to trap CO2 and convert it to liquid fuel. And we have other bodies that are also looking into that sector. Next, please. So in the area of CO2 utilization, there's a growing need in that sector. And the CO2 can be used for greenhouse farming, to produce chemicals, and also as a source of energy storage. Next, please. So what are the benefits of these technologies to Nigeria? First of all, transforming our waste using this technology to power will help to improve the energy security. It also helps to eliminate the public health issues, because the open dump sites are source of all manner of sicknesses and diseases. And it's also a way of providing clean cooking fuel for our teeming population. There's an opportunity in the area of job creation, and also it will promote a very good waste management system. And as a country, we can also generate good carbon credits from transforming our waste to power, because this is regarded as a source of renewable energy. And also, like what is done in other European countries, where countries pay their neighbors to take away their waste. It can be a source of revenue, where Nigeria will act as a hub for treating other waste from Africa, and we get some money from that. And also it will align the country with the principles of low carbon and circular economy. Next, please. So as the world gradually moves to a low carbon world, there is certainly huge opportunity to transform our waste littered in open dump sites in Nigeria to wealth through energy generation. The research has been done, the demonstration has been carried out, the technologies are proven, and the waste are readily available in commercial quantities. The ball is now in our court, to make use of this technology to transform our waste sector. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Dr. Matthew Aneke. And we have a few questions, not few really, but let's see how many we can take. So Jude Mama would like you to tell us, in terms of costs and benefits and all that, what is the attractiveness of this solution to budding economies like us? What makes it appealing for, for them?
Yeah, thank you very much for the question. From my own point of view, what makes it appealing is that, first of all, we need energy in Nigeria as a country. And we have waste that is available that can easily be transformed. So let's look at the table that I presented. We are about over 7,000 gigawatt hour of electricity is being generated by a UK that has a population of 66 million. Imagine the amount of waste that is generated by over 200 million in Nigeria and how that can transform our energy sector. So we talk about using gas to produce power, which is good, but using waste that is already being generated will help us to kill one bird with two stones, in the sense that we will be able to transform our waste management and also utilize the benefit of power.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Aneke. So, so what are the general problems, challenges with commercializing this in Nigeria? What's been the issue?
I think the issue first of all, is the willingness to do it. Because in Nigeria, it's more or less an infant kind of technology. So investors are relatively afraid to go into that kind of thing. And another thing is trying to be able to make the logistics for the waste supply very solid, because some of the problems that they have had in some developed countries is that they have come to a stage where they don't have enough waste to power this plant. But I don't see those problems facing Nigeria, because the waste are available. It's just for us to align the waste management sector with the power generation sector to make sure that there's a steady flow of waste to the power plants.
Thank you, Dr. Aneke. Have a question from Afi Teresa here, and she would like to know, because she said during Professor Wang's presentation, she saw how it's been used in big power plants, and now listening to you, she believes it could be very effective in smaller power plants too, especially because those are the kind of things we have in Nigeria. She would like a confirmation of this, and also then know if this is the way to go.
Yeah, it can be utilized in both big and small power plants. If you look at the table I presented, there are a range of scales of the power plant that are in that table. So it can be utilized in both small scale and large scale. So it is scalable, depending on your need.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Aneke. Stay on with us, but I would like to also invite Professor Wang back, because this question is really for both of you. Isaac Samuel would like to know if you've received any investment approach from maybe the industry or anything. As you're aware, a lot of our people from the Lagos Chamber of Commerce and Industry and the other chambers of commerce and industries online would like to know where they can tap in. So I guess that's why they're looking at that. So please, we'll hear from Matthew, then we'll also hear from Professor Wang.
Yeah, at the moment, I'll be discussing with some people, some colleagues, on how this can be utilized in Nigeria. We have also been applying for some UK government funding opportunities with some universities in the UK to look at how we can set up a kind of demonstration to show how these technologies can be utilized, especially in waste management in Nigeria. So we are doing that already, and we also welcome more partners to make sure that we actualize this dream. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Aneke. Thank you. Professor Wang?
Yes. Since 2006, and I became an academic, I have worked with industry and also research councils for big investments. And generally, I joined over 20 projects and worth 20 million pounds and 3.something million pounds used by my group. For example, with industry like Airstone Power in the UK and CCS Limited, RWM Power, PSC Limited, they all invest in different ways, working with us for research. For example, in recently we have a company in the UK which is with multinational offices like India, UK, America. They look at our process intensification for carbon capture. They have strong interest. Then we work together to apply to EU and the UK government funding, and also their own funding, put into that one. We do large-scale demonstration. Recently, we are doing the pilot-scale test of the technology. We demonstrate very high potential to commercialize this technology. They have many different ideas, use their own patented solvents with our intensification technology and big equipments. And for power plants, for industrial plants, we can do carbon capture at a much lower cost. Okay, so these are all very good examples of the technology towards application. So Nigeria is a country, with lots of hardworking talents, and there are lots of potentials. Welcome, Nigerian LNG or even business people in Nigeria to collaborate with us to make different technology to commercial to the market. Okay.
Thank you, Professor Myong-Wang, and thank you for your kind words. We'll go back to Dr. Aneke. Solomon Adediji would like to know what's your assessment of the current public policies? Do you think they are robust enough to support something like this?
Yeah, thank you very much for the question. I don't think we have the right policies on ground in Nigeria at the moment to support this. Here in the UK, this waste to power is listed as a form of renewable energy, and they got a lot of incentives from the government. So that is something that we have to look at in the area of policy to see how we can put those kind of incentives to make people, so that somebody will see waste to power the way we are seeing solar panels. So if we can put those incentives in making this form of energy a kind of renewable energy and get some funding, some incentives, both within Nigeria and outside the country. And also, as I said in my presentation, it's also a good source of carbon credit, which is currently being traded all over the world. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Aneke. Thank you. This question is going to go back to Professor Wang. It's from Famoroko Babatunde, and he would like to know, with this technology, won't it have an effect of photosynthetic activities, thereby posing a threat to food security?
And first of all, which technology are we talking about? Because in my presentation, I talk about many different technologies like solvent-based carbon capture and grid energy storage, and also biomass partisan gasification. Which are we talking about?
Okay, Prof. So today didn't state. Maybe if he drops that later, then we will come back to you.
Okay, no worry.
He didn't state that. Okay. Yeah. But there's I would like to let you know there's a comment here from George, and he's sending you this message from Rivers that is saying thank you, and that this technology will really be very useful in Nigeria, especially within the Niger Delta. That's George
thank you
from Rivers.
Thank you very
before
much.
we let you go, Professor Wang, I would like to find out from you. I mean, you've been a researcher for very, very many years, undertaking research and all. what has been your challenges, conducting research, especially groundbreaking research and all, and what would be your advice to, young researchers?
First is to face the problem. What's a big challenge to this world now, and what do you want to solve? Second one is to think about great ideas. And for example, when we did carbon capture, and then from 2007, 2006 to 2011, we always think about how to reduce cost, okay? And this is the problem. On operating cost, capital cost and operating costs caused by large equipment or high energy consumption. Then towards that one, what are the different technologies available in other areas which we can use here, like intensification technologies, okay? And we collaborate with people. And I would like to talk to young people is to face the problem and find a solution and stick to the solution. Of course, as academics, we are always very challenging to attract investment. For example, we have to write lots of proposals, and then to EU, to UK research councils, to industry. And this is very, very challenging. So that's why whenever we get a big grant, we always try to talk to researchers. You must focus on your work. You must work really hard. You must, be creative to generate the solution, deliver, the solution, rather than waste money. Because in this world, £1 investment should generate many, many pounds in the future. If you don't do seriously, and the opportunity will be lost. So that's why in the end, in summary, is how to face the problem, how to find a solution, how to pursue people to invest on your idea. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor Meon Guang. Thank you. The next question is for Dr. Matthew Aneke, and it's from Emmanuel Igbokwe. It says, for a grassroots approach for waste gathering, segregation, management, right from the sources, domestic and industrial, how feasible is it to achieve in Nigeria, given our known challenges in environmental friendliness? Doctor, this is quite a long one. Dr. Aneke?
So in waste management, sorting at the source is very, very good, and it helps to reduce the overall cost. And from experience, since I've been living in the UK, the companies that are in charge of waste management always provide you with different sorts of bins that helps you to segregate your waste at the source, and that helps to reduce the overall pre-treatment that this waste go when they get to the plant. So I think it's something that we can implement in Nigeria. It just needs for us to educate our people on the benefits of doing this. I believe that as a people, there's nothing that we cannot achieve.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Aneke. But then a follow-up, and this time around is from Benedict Urama. And it said, look, my thought is abundance of waste now is due to lack of adequate, appropriate waste management system within the country. If that improves, how sustainable is it to have power plants that depend solely on waste generation?
Yeah, I will refer you back to my presentation. UK have a very efficient and robust waste management system, and they have waste plants, a lot of waste power plants that rely solely on waste, both human waste, municipal solid waste. So if you look at the population of the UK and the population of Nigeria, I don't think that should be a problem in the sense that human beings are bound to produce waste. And this waste can be efficiently utilized for power generation. And I don't see an issue in that area in the future based on our population.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Dr. Aneke. Isaac Samuel would like to know, and this time we'll take it to Professor Wang, how feasible is it to construct carbon transport pipelines network, especially in countries like Nigeria and other parts of Africa? How feasible is it, Professor Wang?
This is a very good question. Generally, talk about carbon transport, we have many different ways to choose. If it's a very small amount in a very not very far difference. Generally, people use truck. However, if it's very close to sea, people use ship a lot. For large amount, like say each year, like over like 3 million tons of CO2, and then the distance a bit far away, then use pipeline is the best choice. Something like in Canada, in America, and also some of the planning project in Europe has proved this one. It's a huge investment and a large scale infrastructure.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Professor Wang. Thank you, Dr. Matthew Aneke. We still have quite a number, but you all agree with me that that's all we can take for now. It's been a worthwhile session. Time is fast spent, so we'd like to wrap up because one of the things we also do at Nigeria LNG Limited and of course the LCCI is to ensure we keep to time. So please, ladies and gentlemen, forgive me if we were unable to take your question, but you can still interact online with the winners, follow them online, ask your questions, and I'm sure you get answers to them. But right now, I would like to call on the Manager, Corporate Communication and Public Affairs for Nigeria LNG Limited, Dr. Sophia Osford, to wrap up and close the forum. Thank you. Sophia.
Thank you, Yemi. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, thank you for being part of this really awesome and insightful session. I'm sure you'd agree with me that through its numerous CSR initiatives, of which the Nigeria Prize for Science is one, Nigeria LNG lives up to its commitment expressed in its vision of being a global LNG company, helping to build a better Nigeria. The commitment is what has inspired us as a company to use special events such as this to push for investors' interest in financing the application of scientific researches for public good. We therefore hope that today's conversation marks the beginning of extensive discourse and productive collaboration. So certainly the conversations must go on. I'd like to thank our own General Manager, External Relations at Nigeria LNG, Mrs. Aona Fatai-Williams, the General Manager, External Relations and Sustainable Development. She has been our host today. We thank her for her presence and inspiration with her opening remarks. We remain grateful to the distinguished members of the Advisory Board for the Nigeria Prize for Science for making out time to join us today. Professor Michael Adiku, Professor Bas Inaji, Chief Dr. Mrs. Nike Akonde, and of course the Chairman, Professor Alfred Apoeta Susu. Thank you so much. Very importantly, I'd like to thank the Lagos Chamber of Commerce and Industry, the Deputy President, Asiwaju Dr. Michael Olawale Cole, and the Director General of the Chamber, Dr. Muda Yusuf. Thank you so much for making out time today, for co-hosting this webinar with us and providing the opportunity for our winners to really show their work, how it can be applied, which I'm sure we agree, there is a lot of applicability of their inventions and innovations, and that they're allowing or permitting the financial benefits to be visible to ensure the safety of our own environment. May we not forget, of course, the research work that has been discussed today: carbon capture, carbon utilization, and biomass gasification, and energy storage for power generation. It was the winning work for 2019 edition for the Nigeria Prize for Science, and it was sponsored by us. The work prefers insights, as you can see, tackling the extreme weather conditions, and we all know that climate change is a front burner issue today. By promoting the efficient use of cleaner sources of fuel for cooking and powering our industries, this supports the effort to reduce pollution, greenhouse gas emissions, and of course, the indiscriminate cutting of trees for fuel. Actualization of this solution by our researchers has the potential to bring enormous benefits to Nigeria, and this has been well discussed today, as you can see. We will begin to record improved energy security if we take on these solutions. We'll eliminate public health issues associated with open dump sites and generate carbon credits. Consequently, we must express our gratitude to the researchers today. Professor Meong Wang, thank you so much. And thank you also for the encouragement you continue to give to Nigerian talent where you are. And of course, Dr. Matthew Aneke, thank you even for your words where you said that there's nothing we can't do if we put our minds to it. Thank you for those words of inspiration. And of course, the invaluable contribution that the body of knowledge on this subject has generated by making it possible for the rest of us to grasp what is obviously quite a befuddling science for those of you who believe so. Of course, last but not least, the presence of the audience. Very importantly, our judges, those who belong to other chambers of commerce and the general public. We really appreciate your being here. You have been very active and attentive, and we can only thank you for your time. I'd like to thank my colleagues who have worked and are still doing so even now behind the curtains to ensure that we have a hitch-free and enjoyable webinar experience, which I believe we all can agree we've had today. At this juncture, I enjoin all of you to stay safe as we go about our businesses for the rest of the day, and we look forward to your joining our seminars and webinars in the future. Thank you so much, and God bless.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Sophia. Thank you. And you've thanked everyone, so thank you too. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you. Members of the audience, kindly know that the video recording of this virtual session will be available online. You can go to the NLNG YouTube channel. And please, as you log out, kindly endeavor to give us feedback. A survey will pop up. We'll appreciate it. Thank you all, and God bless. Bye.
Bye. Thank you.